my university days were interesting. I didn't spend a lot of time in university chilling. I spent a lot of time in the university executing many stupid ideas. But I was executing some shit. Right? I was doing stuff. I imagined everything. Imagine marrying all of the beautiful girls in class. I imagined owning a mansion. Bro, I went into worlds. I want to spend the rest of my life experiencing this feeling. That is why I do what I do.
Interesting.
The feeling of fulfillment that I get from being a part of something that helps something and people to become better. I was in entrepreneurial mindsets. I'm going to be a billion. I write in my notes, I was going to have a billion by 25. I'm 31, I'm almost 31 now. But that was the mindset I was in, right?
Hello and welcome to my Innovation Story podcast, where you hear exclusive stories from innovators around Africa. This podcast is brought to you by Magna Collective. And today we have an awesome guest, Francis Sani. Now, for those who don't know, Francis is an innovation and strategy expert with a background in management consulting and innovation engineering. He has supported over 300 high-growth startups, helping them raise millions of dollars and create numerous jobs. He currently serves as a technical advisor to the Honorable Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy in Nigeria. He's also the program director of one of the world's largest talent accelerators, the 3 Million Technical Talent Initiative, also known as 3MTT. Francis! Do you like the entry?
Yo! I'm like, where's the teleprompter at?
I appreciate that.
Hey, no, that was incredible, bro. It was like listening to a poem.
No, welcome. I had to do
thanks,
justice.
Bro. No. You flatter me, man. You flatter me.
We have too many things to talk about today. Obviously, I've known you for a while.
Yeah.
And I want to start with some context that people might not know about you and some things that might have influenced the Francis that we see today. So could you tell us a little bit about your childhood and some of your earliest memories that at the time might not have seemed like much, but have been very instrumental in the Francis that we see today?
That's so interesting because like when I was looking at the documents you sent beforehand, I was like, early childhood and connection of early childhood to innovation and technology. And I don't think it came as like a direct, like people say, I found computers or I found technology and then I felt, I like technology. Yeah. I feel like for me, it's less technology and more curiosity.
Okay.
I think my story starts with curiosity. And I think that my life is a life of curiosity. There's a life of me getting access to new insights and new information and new knowledge at different points in time, and those sparking the next evolution of my actions and the human that I am.
Gotcha.
And some of my earliest memories. Let's start with some of my earliest memories.
Sure.
So my earliest memories are of the house we used to live in as a kid. So it was in a place called Asherifa in Ile-Ife. So I'm from Edo State, Agenobode, Edo State specifically. But my parents, my dad, it was a crazy story, used to live in Agenobode because Sani is not my actual surname.
Oh, really?
My dad's surname is Aluyo, right? And this is crazy, guys. And I feel like an extension of my dad's journey.
Okay. And
I feel like an extension of all of my ancestors' journey. And, it's not a way we usually like to think about who we are as individuals.
Yeah.
We think about who we are as individuals, typically in the form of us as individuals and our immediate family.
Yeah.
But we don't think about it as a continuation of an ancestral story, which is what it is. Right? But let's not go there. But like I think about my dad, and my dad left his hometown and, everybody stayed back. But for some reason, he heard that he had an uncle in Kano and he went to Kano. Without knowing the uncle was, he found the uncle. He spent about 2 years in Kano. He was trying to figure out getting education because he wanted to always do something different as a kid from a village. But then he had to change his surname to be able to get a chance at getting into university. So he changed his surname. He adopted his uncle's surname, Sani, and then relegated his own surname to be able to. Do you know how crazy that is? It changes. It changes identity.
That's wild.
He was willing to be able to go that far for him to be able to get the opportunity, and he didn't eventually get it. Right, so he had to go all the way to. He had to go back to Ife, and that's a crazy story. One day he wakes up, he hears that he has a relative in Ile-Ife, Kano to Ile-Ife, Osun State. This man takes the bus from Kano without knowing where he's going to in Ile-Ife, Osun State.
I need to meet your dad.
Bro. And the guy just gets there by, again, the universe and God works in incredible ways. He gets there, the exact park that he gets to. People know his uncle, and then he goes to the library, and then he lives in the library. He becomes a librarian, and we stay in Ife. So I was born in Ife, and in Ife, there's to me, from my early childhood, there's two places in Ife. There's campus and there's town.
Really?
And it's interesting because I think that's such, and it's a representation and a reason why innovation is extremely important in society and communities. And now grassroots innovation as well is extremely important because the environment in which a child grows up in is extremely important.
Yeah.
So when I say campus and town, so Obafemi Awolowo University is in Ile-Ife, on a large expanse of land in Ile-Ife, right? 30,000 students in Ile-Ife.
Wow, that's a lot.
Every single year are in Ile-Ife at Obafemi, one of the most prestigious universities in the country. Right? So you were either a child who lived in the campus, because all of the professors, all of the staff, some of them had residential apartments in the campus. So you were either someone who lived there or you're someone who lived in town. Town wasn't so bad. There was some GRA and stuff, but there were some areas where if you didn't have certain economic privileges, you wouldn't be able to live there. Right? So that's what the environment of my childhood was. My childhood was the earliest thing I was curious about was God and Christianity.
Interesting.
By the age of 11, I had gone to I don't know when it was, but let me just say, before I left secondary school, I'd been to about 20 states in Nigeria. Right? By the age of 11, I went to
20
Jos.
Is a lot.
I went to Jos in Plateau State. Right, at the age of 11, to go and represent my diocese in a competition. Right, so I was the kid who used to go and cram the doctrine, cram different things, and go and represent the church, the deanery. So in the Catholic Church, you have the church, you have the deanery, which is like a local government zone or like a couple of local governments, and then you have the diocese, which is the state, and then you have the national. Right, so I'll go and represent the state at multiple competitions. Right, and the same thing in secondary school. And I feel like it was just that curiosity about what is, I remember the earliest form of my journey to searching for enlightenment. The earliest memory I have of it was one night in my mom's kitchen when I just thought, why, what is all this? For some reason, I just sat down there, beside the chimney. So I was, the designated parboiler of fish. I knew I was the one that used to go and parboil fish, and I liked it because the fish had eggs. So I could, if there were 20 eggs, I could eat 5 while I was parboiling the fish. And it's 15, and people wouldn't notice. I was a little bit of a thief when I was growing up. But that evening I was just sitting and I was like, what is, where are we from? Why does this exist? Who am I? Right. And I had no answers, but I feel like because I was involved in competitions in church and stuff, it allowed me to be curious. So I read a lot as a kid.
Okay.
But I read a lot of Christian books.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? I read a lot of Christian books, primarily the Bible. Obviously, I was 11, 12.
Were your parents very spiritual?
Oh, yeah, my parents are extremely spiritual. There's certain things I shouldn't stay on this video so that my mom, because I'm sure my dad would definitely find it and watch it. I'm not so sure about my mom. But my parents are very Catholic, very, very spiritual. So we grew up in a very spiritual and very religious home. And that evening, thinking about what's, just contemplating about life, then set me on another journey. And I think the most important moment in my childhood was, I don't know how I got the book. My memory isn't the greatest, but was when I found the Gifted Hands book.
What's it? Ben Carson. Yeah, I read that too.
Yes. It's like the most pivotal moment in my life.
Interesting.
I don't know what about the book or which of these themes about the book changed things. It was either the fact that he was a kid from extremely, non-privileged backgrounds, working so hard and seeing a mom, because the book isn't just about Ben. It's also about Ben's mom and how much Ben's mom does to be able to give her children the opportunity at life, which is what my parents, did for me. Yeah. And this is what a lot of Nigerian parents did for them. Yeah. They literally live their own lives and give everything for their children for them to be able to thrive. Right. And something that is very important for the Nigerian culture. So Ben's book opened my eyes. Yeah. The second theme was, I wasn't sure if it was because of the fact that this was someone who came from nothing but dared to dream and dreamed and became the best in the world.
Interesting.
Right? It's like he dared to dream, he dreamed, and he became the best in the world. Do you know how crazy it is? Like when we say someone does something that is brand new, when someone is the first surgeon to be able to separate twins that were born together, the first surgeon, that is cutting edge, right? That is the cutting edge of expression. So someone who came from such backgrounds and then went to that cutting edge, that was what changed my life.
Interesting.
Right.
I mean, I know you're a curious person, and I can tell. I can tell, just generally speaking. But I actually didn't have a lot of this context that you just shared around how you grew up with spiritual parents, around how, for instance, you used to represent the church and schools.
I had a rap band. I used to rap. I had a band. I was a rapper, and because it was a Christian band as well. Me and my boys.
It's amazing. So, like, how did the curiosity gene, let me call it that, how did it lead you down the path of innovation? Because there are many curious people who stay within the church context, but you somehow found your way into the innovation/consulting landscape. And I want to understand, like, how did your journey lead there?
To be honest, it was entirely accidental.
Okay.
And, awesome. I feel like my life is a life of just like ping pong, It is. And I just take it wherever the new pong goes, I ping, I pong, yin yang. I don't think I had like I actually did not have an intentional entry into innovation. I was never like, I'm going to go and figure out innovation or management consulting and stuff like that. No, so I like to tell my story in phases, and I'll try to summarize it because sometimes it can go on for quite long.
Fine.
So as a kid, one of the things that, in addition to doing those competitions, that I did was another second moment was when my brother became a librarian.
Okay.
Or he worked in a bookshop, rather. So there was a bookshop close to the gates of, Road 7. So in Road 7, so in the campus quarters, there's the junior quarters and there's the senior quarters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. The senior quarters is where the senior staff, so the professors and people who are senior staff, that's where their quarters are.
Okay,
but the junior quarters is where the people who are NASU, who are the non-academic staff, that's where they stay.
Like support staff.
And, again, that's interesting when you think about the hierarchy, social hierarchy.
Exactly.
And, how that also influences you as a kid and influences you in environment in terms of social status, right? Because even though I lived in the campus, there were certain things that I couldn't do, or there were certain things that I didn't have access to that my friends that lived in the same environment had access to, right? However, working with Lively, just going to the bookshop. I think that's where I found the book, actually. I'm not sure, but I think so. But because my brother worked there, it meant that I could take books and go, right? So I really liked reading books. And this was like before JS3, because the way I know is, junior secondary, you don't focus on, what's it called? Anything. It's in senior secondary that you decide to actually focus, right? And the reason why I did not even consider going to art class and I had to go to science class was because I looked at all of the books that my guys were going to read in SS1 and SS2, and I'd read them.
Oh.
Right. I'd read them because, Lively, I got access to them. My dad was a librarian. So as a kid, after school, we just go to the office, to my dad's office, and we'd read the books. I don't remember most of those books, to be honest. But just that thing about I think that was also a key part in curiosity as well. Just, both fictional and non-fictional. I used to read a lot of fiction. Really? I need to go back into the space of reading fiction again, because I think that was tied to my creativity.
Yeah.
But, that was there. Let me run through a couple real quick. So secondary school, I decided to go into science class. You know, I like science. Science was great. I remember one of my, my recent favorite memories that I had forgotten was I was talking to my friend who's based in Austin now. And when I was in the US last quarter, or in Q4, we're talking and we're like, it was like, do you remember that we went to Abuja for a national rocket competition? Rockets. And I'm like, oh shit, we did. So when I was like 13 or so, myself, Ineoluwa, Damola, and is that Damilola or Buki? I'm not sure because they were two smartest ladies in secondary school. There was a competition nationally for schools who could launch rockets with water.
Interesting.
So water-powered rockets. Okay. And I don't remember that process. These guys probably did do, but like we spent weeks with our teachers building that stuff. Lots of field launches. Then one day we figured it out.
You actually built it?
We built it and it worked. We built a rocket. So I was 13. So that was probably, I was born in 94. So this was 2007.
Yeah.
Right? We built a rocket.
That's crazy.
That was powered by water. Right? And we were from Ife, our materials were rough. Yeah. I remember coming to Abuja. It was real nice. It was a nice vacation. I remember the first time I went to Abuja. I don't remember a lot of the details, but I remember coming to Abuja. Yeah, at the National Stadium, we had to, they had to do this rocket launching. But like ours was like the least nice one because like there were guys from Olashore and all of this Queen's College and King's College stuff. My school was founded we're the second set. So it was a school founded in 2003 or so.
Yeah, it was new.
Right. So it was super new and it was from random Ife. But we got into the national competition.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool, right? So things like that just like forged curiosity. Yeah. And I feel like at some point I used to ask a lot of questions at Bible study that I don't think I got comfortable answers to.
Okay.
And I think that was also one of the things that, pushed a little bit because I would ask questions. And the priest, one of my favorite priests, Father Kenneth, I grew up in a very loving community from a religious standpoint. But the priest, there's some questions that they didn't have answers to, or I wasn't satisfied with the answers. Yeah. And I think that was where my thinking about my curiosity about the universe came from. Coming back into the journey. So I leave secondary school, I go into university, and in university, I meet a guy called Gifto. I don't know where Gifto is now. We've not spoken in a bit. Okay. Gifto is from Edo State. Okay. Gifto was 1 year in university ahead of me. Right? And I don't know. I go to the department one day, and Gifto just likes me. You get? I mean, and Gifto start spending time together, and Gifto was just an hustler. Gifto was an hustler, and Gifto was like, you have to use politics. So I get into school, and in my first semester in school, I run for a political position against the most popular person in my set, who was the class rep. Okay. Again, I was a small kid. I wasn't the most outgoing kid. So it forced me to be able to talk to people. Gotcha. And it forced me to market for the first time significantly, especially to market myself, right? And I did that and I won the election. Very, very slim margins, but I won the election. So imagine me at the age of, at this point, 17, right? Sitting in certain rooms that was responsible for, different affairs of people, right? And that's where a lot of that started to come from. When I was younger, I used to be active in CYON as well, which was the Catholic Youth Organization. I think at 13 or 14, I became the secretary, like assistant secretary or something. I was like a 14-year-old boy, and all of the other people in the committee were like 28 to 30, And I think that also reflected in another way, because it then meant that for the longest time in my life, and even till today, the groups of friends I'm in and my average group that I'm in is 5 to 10 years older than me. Right? Because I started that piece about curiosity and I got into, I started to do things earlier than I probably should have.
Interesting.
I'm coming to the innovation piece.
That's fine.
But the journey of going into politics, in student politics, at a departmental level, the journey of just experiencing all of that and starting to juggle multiple things. Because I feel like that's when the need to juggle multiple things started to come up.
Yeah.
Right. Again, I've always been curious and I've always wanted to do things. Like I feel like I wonder if I'm not sure. I spent a lot of my evenings, and this is important. I'm a middle child.
Okay.
Right? I'm a middle child means that my parents tried to do the family planning. They did it excellently except for Lively. So Lively is a little bit of a mistake, bro. So everybody is 3 years after each other, right? But Lively is like just right 1 year after my first brother, right? So they were close. So they were just 1 year apart, both of them, right? Or 18 months. They were 1 year apart. Then I came 3 years after.
Got you.
But then my sister came 3 years after. My brother came 3 years after.
Okay, got you.
So it meant that at a critical point in my life, in our lives, because we went homeless at around when I was 4 or 5, there was the Ife Modakeke War.
Okay.
And in the Ife Modakeke War, when I was 4 or 5 years old, there were some evenings where we'd have to cower in the sitting room because there were bullets passing in front of our house. Because our house, that location was in between the borders of both. So technically it's Osun State, but like there's Ife, there's Modakeke, there's Ife. Yeah. Right? So that whole area was a war zone, right? And I can't even remember and, think about what that meant as a kid. But also because of where we're at economically, we're one of the last to leave the house. Okay. So it meant that people had left when the things started escalating, but we could not afford to. Right, because my dad was working at the library. My mom had come from Lagos. So she had to shelve all of her education plans. She was selling pure water at some point. She used to carry us to sell pure water. My mom is a rock star. She's an absolute rock star. She eventually gets a job in a primary school close by and she spends 30-something plus years. Yeah. And she raises us alongside my dad and, both of them are gangsters, right? Alongside all of the sacrifices they raise every single one of us to go through university. Every single one of us, right? That's amazing, bro. I'm not 5 kids. 5 kids, bro. 5 kids. And my brother went to study pharmacy. My first brother studied pharmacy, so very lovely profession. Lively studied law. I was supposed to go into medicine, but then I was the one that, I didn't get into medicine. Yeah, but it wasn't my fault. That year, JAMB, we were only 6 in our class that passed JAMB because JAMB was crazy that year. Really? And a lot of my friends couldn't come to OAU with me. Coming back to the to the university, and I keep moving back and forth.
It's fine.
So Gifto urges me to go into politics, right? And I started doing politics. But as part of politics as well, I started exploring. I spent a lot of my university days were interesting. I didn't spend a lot of time in university chilling. I spent a lot of time in the university executing. Executing many stupid ideas. But I was executing some shit. Right? I was doing stuff. Right? I'm in politics. I'm doing school. School got boring to me. I stopped going to classes actively at the end of my part 2. My part 1 was great. I was on a 3.8. It was boring. I was doing botany. I wanted to go into medicine. I didn't get into medicine. We were supposed to go into dentistry. That didn't happen. My mom went to beg a couple people. I eventually got into botany. I was like, okay. Because what people usually do is if you want to go to medicine, I don't get in, then you stay for 1 year. And then after that 1 year, you go into medicine, But okay, let's do botany. And then eventually say, come and do medicine. I'm like, no, I like this botany because I had time. Because I liked botany. It was interesting. I was my team in my final year. So let you know that botany, I didn't do bad there. Botany, number 1, I was in top 10 in my class.
Oh, really?
Also, when it came to, there was a spelling, a botanical name competition, which essentially means that you have to cram and master the botanical names of plants.
Scientific names.
There was a national competition for that and my team won it.
Really?
Right? I was part of the team that won it in my final year. Okay. So I didn't do bad in botany, right? But I got bored in second year. So I stopped going to classes. Right. And, again, my friends didn't like that because it meant that I would just come, I knew that I could come 24 hours to 48 hours before the test. I'll get the photocopy of the notes. I just have to go spend 2 nights preparing for that particular test. And then I'm going to pass the test. Right. With the exams, all I had to do, bro, I'm not shitting you, bro. All I had to do for exams was prep 2 weeks before. So as long as I had all of the notes, I would just spend 2 weeks prepping for the exams. and I'll ace it. I wasn't going to get A's and stuff. No. I realized I didn't need A's and stuff. All I needed was a 3.5. So if I need 3.5, I get B's, I get C's, you know, and since I knew how to cram this thing, you know, I would understand it. You know, it's just that it was short-term memory, right? So I understand something. After I leave it, I release it into the wind. Yeah. So that gave me time to be able to explore and do stuff. Yeah. So in uni, I did about 6 different ventures, the ones I remember. I'm sure there's more. In fact, I don't count all of the, what's it called? We used to do this thing, network marketing. I did network marketing. You know, it's interesting from a marketing standpoint, and I feel like I don't necessarily do that piece a little bit more. Yeah. But I used to sell. Okay. Right. And I feel like nowadays when I talk or when I say things certain ways, just because I've spent a lot of my life trying to sell people or something. Interesting. Right. Trying to get them to think a different way. Right. And I've gotten quite some experience. So I did some network marketing in school, and, you know, probably not I didn't like it eventually, and I stopped because there was someone who always had to, would be left carrying the bag. Right. Yes, you make your money if you're the first person and the person that can bring a lot of people in. Yeah. But like if you can't do any of that, you're not going to get in. Exactly. So that gave me some, you know, sales experience, and ability to be able to talk to people. I did 6 businesses, and most of those businesses, and this is probably where the innovation piece. It comes in from a standpoint of I would find something that I thought was a problem, or I'll find something I was excited about, and I'll go do it. Okay. And maybe. And this, like, that's what it is for me. So even technology and innovation, it's not as though, you know, I don't understand how to code, right? But like, I don't understand the technical piece, but the piece around solving problems, but not just solving problems, because I feel like problem solving, you talk about problem solving ability, and that sounds bland. Yeah. I think for me, it is seeing what could be. And trying to bring it to reality. That's interesting. Which is what comes from you being curious. Yeah. One of the points I was going to make when I went back was that I spent a lot of my evenings, when I talked about the middle child piece, I spent a lot of my evenings as a kid or in my early teenage years, in the evenings, what's the word? What do you call this thing? Meditating, not meditating. In imagination. Interesting. I spent a lot of my time in imagination. I imagined everything. Imagine marrying all of the beautiful girls in class. I imagined owning a mansion. Bro, I went into worlds. Yeah. And I feel like in a way, now that I see the connection, I am a tool of the universe and of God to be able to try to bring certain worlds into life, into existence. I like that. Right? I like that a lot, actually. Those worlds that I imagined, the work I do now, the ideas that come to me, and I, you know, God knows how much of those I'll be able to express, and how many of them I will live long enough to be able to see. But I see them and I feel them so vividly, and the passion that I have, or the hours that I put into work, it's not because I love my job or anything, because I do, but like it's because, you know, it's almost as though I feel like a prophet. Interesting. Even though I don't I don't like using words like that. I understand. But it's almost as though I feel like, maybe the word is not a prophet. Maybe the word is someone who a mandate has been given to. Yeah. It's a responsibility. A responsibility, yes. Someone with a responsibility. So let's take away prophet. I feel like someone with a responsibility and a responsibility to share. Not a responsibility to do, which is something I've been realizing recently. I feel like when we, as innovators and as people who have, because you know, talk about innovation, technology, and all of these things. But at the end of it, and the core of it is philosophy. Life is philosophy. At the end of it, innovation, technology is an expression of it. But life is philosophy. It is about us as humans, us as a group and collective of humans, us as a group and collective of consciousness, experiencing individual consciousness, collective consciousness at different levels and in different shapes of form. Yeah. Right? And I think that having that philosophical element probably is what we also need in the innovation ecosystem for Africa. For me, I don't operate in the tech ecosystem. I like mentally as an individual, I don't think of myself as someone who's in the tech ecosystem or someone who's in the innovation ecosystem. Yeah. I think of myself as an African. Okay. I think of myself as an African who is privileged to live at this time and day.
Okay.
I think of myself as an African who is privileged to have incredible people like you as friends.
Cheers, man.
Incredible people who I've worked with, incredible people who I've met. And I think of an African as myself as an African at this point in time with a responsibility to be able to bring certain things to life. And I feel like that whole piece around me running 6 businesses in school, going through politics, eventually becoming. So I did PRO in my part 1 going to part 2, part 2 going to part 3. I did what was it called? Was it something? I've forgotten. Not treasurer or financial secretary. One of those. So I did another thing at the departmental level. Yeah. Oh no, sorry. My second year going to third year, I went to the faculty level. Okay. Right. So I was the financial secretary for the largest faculty in the OAU. Right. And I had a personal goal in my part 3 going into 4 that I was going to be one of the youngest presidents of the faculty.
Were you?
You know, I didn't. I did it because I went to church.
Okay, fair.
And that was the other second pivotal moment in my life. I was supposed to be president, and I was logged in on it. You know, I'd been planning. That's the thing. I've gone through departments, you know, faculty. Now I wanted to be president, but again, to be honest, I just wanted to be president because I thought it was cool to be president.
Gotcha.
Right. And one day, because I was still an active Catholic at this point. You know, today I don't know if, like, I'm still Christian. I'm still Catholic, right? But in terms of the active and the ways in which I practice Christianity and Catholicism as a kid, it's very different from the way I practice it
right
today.
now. Got you.
Right? But at that point, I was still, you know, very active in the traditional sense. I'm a Catholic. So the NFCS, the Federation of Catholic Students, they were doing an election or something, right? Okay. And they had said I should come and become the daddy warfare. You know, my team today, so my guys at 3M City call me Daddy Wa for certain reasons. But like I was Daddy Warfare when I was in my final year. So there was warfare. So there's a committee within the federation that was responsible for the welfare of students. My brother was in the committee before I came into university. So when I came into university, I joined that committee naturally. I wasn't the most active member, but I was active enough.
Gotcha.
You know, they said I should come and do that. I rejected.
Really? Why?
Because I wanted to be president.
Interesting.
And then one random day, a couple of weeks later, I'm walking to White House from my hostel, and some guy comes up to me, one of the Egbons, I think it was leaving school, you know, and comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, bro, I think you should do this thing."
Interesting.
Right, to spend like 30 minutes talking. I'm like, "No, man, like I'm trying to be president, yo. Do you know what I'm going to be as president? Do you know the budget I'll manage? You know, I don't the reason this thing since now I'm on track for this thing, bro. I want to do it." Right, and he's like, "No, like, you know, he thinks I should do it." And I'm like, "Okay, I agree." I dropped my presidential ambitions. I go on to the SUG. So I served in the Students' Union government in my final year. But I was in the House. So I was a Senate member. I'm not sure what they call it, Senate or something. I think maybe House of Reps or something. And I go on another adventure, the next adventure. And I feel like my life is a life of adventures. I truly feel so. I feel like every 2 years, every 3 years, I start a new adventure. Nowadays, every 6 months or every 2 months, I'm starting a new adventure. And I think that's what life should be. And I think that's when you think about the power of innovation, power of artificial intelligence, the power of these new technologies that we have, which we'll talk about in a bit. That is what they enable. They enable us to be able to create that life. I was speaking for a bit. Do you want to? Bro, you can. This is so it's helpful. I went off your plan a little bit.
I wouldn't say off, and I'll tell you why. So as we were speaking, a couple of things came to my mind. Number one, shout out to your parents for all the amazing work, sacrifices they made. You know, shout out to them. The second thing is, I knew you as a curious person, but you, even as you're speaking through your journey, I can tell that there's the curiosity piece, but there's also the doing and representation. And let me tell you what I mean. Your interest drove you into a particular direction, but there was a lot of actual work you did to see through. Like, oh, I want to put myself forward to represent the school or represent the church. So it's not just being curious, because a lot of people are curious and it stays in their head. It's another thing for you to be curious and say, you know what, I actually want to see this through and see how I can, for instance, go and build a rocket. Or, right? Come on. So I think, because I'm trying to take the perspective of some of our listeners who are innovation enthusiasts, might still be in school. And I think it's important that from your story, they can learn the fact that it's one thing to be curious, but it's another thing for you to actually do. Take the extra steps to see the vision or whatever has been put into your mind through to some kind of fruition. So thank you for sharing, bro. No, honestly. And maybe we can use this as a stepping stone into some of the things that, some of the amazing things you've done around even startup funding and startup support. You went through this journey all the way through to university. Then you found yourself in CC Hub, which is actually where we met. Right? So,
yo, that's like 2018.
Bro, honestly,
or 2019.
Yeah.
Not bad, bro. Almost a decade.
Yeah,
man.
Those were the days, man.
Bro.
So how was that experience, for instance, even starting? Because some of the relationships you built then have obviously followed you through your life. But tell us a little about how you started off there and some of the things that you experienced during that journey, especially going from CC Hub to Magic Fund. We'll talk about where you are now. But how did you end up there? And then what are some of the pivotal moments that you can maybe call on as you went through that journey?
My story at CC Hub would not be possible without a couple of people.
Okay.
I want to shout out to them. And I wouldn't remember everyone, but a couple of people. First would be Dr. Matthew Ojo.
Okay.
Dr. Matthew Ojo, which is, it's interesting. Like I'm picking it back to that executive position in church. When I became that executive in church, it wasn't actually the thing that changed my life. It was me in the process of going to church more. One Saturday, I heard about something called Dream Seminar in church the previous Sunday.
What's it called? Dream
Seminar.
Okay.
I was like, this is interesting. So I decided to go. And I go to Dream Seminar. I have the craziest 3 hours. This man is talking about dreams, talking about what's possible. It's like the Becassin of my world live in Ile-Ife, Dr. Matthew Ojo.
Got you.
And afterwards, I go to meet him and I say, sir, I really enjoyed this today. I would like to volunteer to help you out with this. And maybe that ties to what you say about doing. Because, I don't see myself as a doer. Like my team will tell you, I feel like I don't know how to execute. I feel like I have crazy imposter syndrome. So I feel like that's something. But we'll come to that. But I tell him I indicate interest. He says I should go and meet the person who's the current organizer. I go to meet the current organizer. He welcomes me and he tells me that he's going to graduate that semester. Like those were his final weeks in school.
Oh, wow.
So me volunteer to this new program, became chairman of the new planning committee for the program. That seminar I attended about 20 people and Dr. Matthew had done incredibly in the series he had done. And I was like, more people need to know about this. So I told him that, sir, let us increase the size. Let us increase, doing what we want to do about this. And I told you about network marketing. I told you about starting businesses and doing businesses. Bro, I know you have 1 hour, but there's this. Yeah? It's important because I don't think, it's interesting. This is my first podcast.
Yeah. Oh, really? Ever?
Yep, ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well honored.
Yeah. It's my first ever. And I think definitely I'll do more conversations where I speak, especially with the one that's myself and Wally are planning. But like the first thing, one of the things let me tell you about some of the businesses I did in school.
Okay.
And it links into CC Hub and it links to the journey to CC Hub. In school, one of the first things I did was graphics design. Right? Me and my friend Tamitimo, we learned how to do graphics design. So I started doing graphics design for people. I getting paid little money. Well, around the same time, my brother learned about an arbitrage opportunity in terms of getting files in USB drives to be printed from Ibadan, but doing it at a cheaper price. Wow. So back then, if you're in OAU and you wanted to go print a banner or you wanted to print flyers, you would have to go and do it in Ibadan. And you pay Ibadan. Oh no, you do it in Ife and it was extremely expensive. But if you went to Ibadan, it could be cheaper.
Gotcha.
But there was no way for you to be able to do that. Like most people just did Ife or they paid high prices.
Yeah.
And then we found out that there was someone who had set out an outpost, a printing company, had set out an outpost somewhere outside of school, where if you went to that company and just gave them the flash drive, they will give you the price in Ibadan. So without us having to go to Ibadan, we could come here, give these guys a flash drive, and we'll get the print in 2 days, and we'll be able to essentially sell to people. So we set up a shop or some sorts where we did printing for people, and we'll just, every evening I'll take the bus, go to Mayfair, I'll drop it off, I'll come back, I'll follow up, we'll do stuff. So we ran that business for a bit. I used to do designs. Demetin was a better designer, is a much better designer, incredible designer. He did a lot of the designs as well. So we ran that business for about a year, right? And the last time I collected allowance formally from my parents was at the end of my first year.
Okay.
So the rest of my university, I had to do businesses to survive because we didn't want to put the pressure on our parents. So we did that. We did the printing stuff. We did an events management thing. We did, what else did we do? I, at some point, sold punch and popcorn.
Really?
Yep. I used to sell punch and popcorn. I need to get a restaurant because I eventually did my restaurant. One of my biggest dreams from my first year in school was to own a restaurant. I liked the fact that there was a restaurant and there were some students that owned restaurants and people could go there, and I was obsessed with owning a restaurant. I didn't have the money. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do things that will make other money. Yeah. So I used to sell punch. So punch is this drink. I don't know. Do you know punch?
I mean, I have it.
It's like something you mix. You mix this fruits. There's some things you mix. It's like a natural, it's not natural. It's made from like coloring, all these coloring
like concentrates.
Concentrates. Yes, So I did that, and I'll carry buckets, bro. It was crazy, man. Like I'll carry buckets.
Hustled, man.
I'll carry buckets to go and sell big buckets to go and sell punch. But you know what? I went in a white shirt. I went in black pants. I went with shoes, and I went with a bow tie, red bow tie every time.
Really? Why?
I wanted to do something different.
Interesting.
I wanted to be not just the guy selling punch. Because I was selling punch to my classmates, to people who knew me from church. I was right there. I didn't hire people. Now me, now me, go make the concentrate. I will go new markets, buy the concentrates, buy watermelon, buy all of the ingredients. I will make it. I will carry the ice. I would check my boys that were dreaming about making money. I'll check them, you come and support me. I would do that shit, bro. I did that shit till like almost my 4th year. Right? Really? Then I got a popcorn machine. Bro, this was while I was a politician. This was while I was in school. This was while I was doing livelihood entertainment where we're doing like, Black Bones, Chinko, myself, Lively, and a couple of our friends back there. We had an entertainment outfit in school. It was music, movies, and dance. Music, livelihood entertainment. So we wanted to do music, movies, and dance. Bro, we did rap battles. Chinko, one of our rap battles. So I was doing all of this stuff. I was volunteering in church, and I was still selling popcorn. I'll carry my popcorn machine on bike. I will go and find generator. They will set up generator. I will sell it into the night. That's what I did when I was in school. And I go to, CC Hub, join CC Hub. I go through management consulting for 2 years. I also, joined a company.
This was after school. So you graduated.
So I graduated, I go into management consulting. Okay. Management consulting again was coincidental.
Okay.
It was coincidental because after, man, I didn't finish the story. Oh man, this your podcast is going to be so long. It's going to be your longest podcast. Hope you're not going anywhere. I go into those events, dream seminars. I tell my boss, Dr. Machi, that let's expand it. So we expanded. The first one we do after that is 270 people. The one we do after that is 800 people. We use the most prestigious hall in school, or we do it all.
Yeah.
The one we do after that, the first one was 1,200 people. So we take this from 20 people to an event where 1,200 people came to. And it was a seminar where we'll bring people from Lagos to just talk to students and let them see something that was different, something that was possible, and there was the vision of Dr. Matthew, right? And this is where I found my life's purpose.
Okay.
All of this ties to my life purpose. The definition of that purpose has changed, but the feeling that I've found and that I continue to feel every day and that gives expression to the work I do was because of those events that I did.
Okay, interesting.
incredible team put out those events. All like most of the people that worked in like the volunteers, superstars now, students, superstars. Many of them are doing so well. And I'm extremely grateful to have worked with them and extremely privileged to have worked with them. We'll put together this massive event. This was like volunteer work, bro. We'll raise the money, we'll sell the tickets. All of this was by us. We'll sell tickets to 800 people in school to come and talk about seminar, about their dreams. Bro. And people showed up. And I'll come to school the next semester and I'll be on the road and someone will walk up to me and they will say, bro, that event y'all did last time was crazy. It helped me see something different. And the feeling that I felt was a feeling that I said, I want to spend the rest of my life experiencing this feeling. That is why I do what I do.
Interesting.
The feeling of fulfillment that I get from being a part of something that helps something and people to become better. That's the reason.
So the feeling is around helping people improve their lives at a fundamental level.
Just being I don't think I can help people improve their lives. But I can play a role in something that achieves that. And when I get the feedback that I did that, I help people feel more fulfilled. Let me move forward. So I did those events. I got into management consulting because I then I interned. There was a TEDx in my school in my fourth year, and I volunteered. And my manager liked me. She liked my performance. She was like, "Oh, I know someone who's trying to start a management consulting company. I think you're smart. You talk to him." I go out of town. I sit with Bomi. He likes me. He hires me. So February 2015, before I leave school, 3 months later, I already have a job, right? Bomi is running this management consulting firm, small firm. Bomi is incredible. He's read about BCG. He's read about, the law. He's read about all of the top strategy companies. He knows everything, knows all of the frameworks. I spent 2 years understudying Bomi. I say that everything I know about business and the sense and understanding I have business and strategy comes from Bomi.
Interesting.
And spending
What's Bomi's full name?
Bomi Opatayo. He's a product manager. He's based in the UK now. And everything I learned from that, because we go, it's a small company. So again, we're hustling. We'll go and find Kola Badmos, who was an incredible, artist who made shoes, natural shoes, leather. So we consult for him. Bro, we consult for him. We consult for the boutiques. We consult for anybody that is doing anything in Ife. We're like, okay, come, let us do strategy for you. We do all of that, right? And while I'm doing that, I met some dude who started a business that didn't go, well eventually, unfortunately. But I felt like he was a great innovator. Unfortunately, he made some mistakes. We went into that business, or I joined them. It was an investment company. We helped to grow the business by, went from like 50M AUM to over 2 billion AUM by the time I left in 18 months.
That's
right.
Amazing.
And that gives you a lot of experience about operations and building out operations. So all of this precedes CCL. I leave that company like 1.5 years in, I decided to focus on innovation consulting. And the idea was that me and Bomi were going to build out our management consulting firm in Ife, right? And that's the idea that I used to get into a program in Ilorin. I think it was, it's interesting. I was talking to Mr. Edward Esene, who was, he runs an innovation hub, is one of the top innovation experts in the country. I go to this 1 week thing in Ilorin, and he's one of the facilitators, and I really like him. I like everything there. So at this point, we're getting into this thing, and our idea was, we build out an innovation company, a management consulting company. We started doing startup fundraising in Ife, which was like, so we called it, what do you call it? Stone Africa. So Stone Africa, startup fundraising or something. We raise money for some people, right? So we raise money for some people, right? So we're trying to just build that out. So that's why I let that investment company say, okay, I want to focus on building out. So maybe that's where the innovation piece started coming from. But something interesting happened in that period. Before I went to Ilorin, my friend Jennifer had gone to, when we were in school, because she was my partner. So Jennifer was my partner in Dream Seminar, amongst other incredible partners that I had. And I was just chief motivator and chief organizer for Dream Seminar, right? So Jennifer had gone to Qatar. She had gone to these places when we were in school. And I was like, we're in Ife now. And Ife I grew up from. This Qatar where they go. How you take go? What's happen? What did you do? And she said she applied for one fellowship thing, and she went to Qatar. I'm like, show me pictures. I'm like, Miss, I must travel one day. I must travel and see the world, right? So she advises me to apply to something called YALI RLC, which is the Young African Leadership Institute, which President Obama had started. So YALI has the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which is the 6-week residency program in the US, but there's a smaller version. I don't think they do it as much now. And to be honest, I feel like that's one of the things when, as I get more resources, I want to be able to do more stuff like that. Because those things are foundational and incredible for young leaders. Right? So it was this thing where across West Africa, they selected about 150 people, young leaders. And these young leaders, the year before mine, they had been in Accra, but this year we were in Badagry. You get? So I was there for 5 weeks, and that was
in Badagry.
It was an incredible moment of my life, and I'll tell you why it's important. So we go to so it starts 5 weeks, but Ilorin eats into 1 week of that. So to let you know that I was focused on this innovation consulting thing, I was like, this 5 weeks something that they accepted me for after my second trial. I missed on the first time. But I say, when I go wait, I might go focus on business. Now business will they try build. So I go to Ilorin, then I come into Lagos 1 week late. Right? I come in 1 week later, there's just 150 people. Badagry is incredible. I want to go back to Badagry. I miss the nights in Badagry with the thunderstorms. I miss going to the water in Badagry. I miss being in Badagry. Right? So I need to go back to Badagry. I've not been, I think I went back once, but I've not been since then. Nigeria is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful country in the world. Amazing. And we're going to make it. Like I have some ideas. I will tell you after this podcast. I have some ideas. There's some manifestos I want to be able to write to be able to inspire people, because I feel like that's one of the things that I have the ability to do. To inspire people to see Africa and Nigeria for what it can be, and to then use that as a tool to drive people to action, positive action. So I get into CCL because at Badagry I meet Femi Romini. Femi Romini is the co-founder of Money Africa. Rank Africa, right? I was fortunate to, when I was in Magic, to invest in Femi's company.
Oh, really?
It's one of our best performing companies in Magic. I meet Femi and I have a great time in Badagry. At this point, I'm 21. I'm 21 with all of these leaders, all of these great people, many of them 5 to 10 years older than me. But I participate, I stand out. Right? And everybody's like, this young guy, Femi sits me down 2 nights or the nights before we leave. And Femi is like, there was no lights that night. I just went to Femi's room to chill. I was like, what do you do for Ife? He said, what are you doing in Ife? Say, you this boy, what are you doing in Ife? Why are you being a big fish in a small pond? Come to Lagos. I say, Femi, I have Lagos, but I don't know anything for Lagos now. I don't think no anybody. You know how much they pay for Lagos? That was my... Maybe I'd come to Lagos once or twice at that point in time. I'd gone to different cities, but I'd not come to Lagos, except for when we were a kid. Like in my now adult life or early adult life, I'd not come to Lagos. So I don't know anyone in Lagos, right? Femi is like, don't worry, I'll support you. And what Femi did for me, even I feel like I don't do that enough for people that are probably in the position I was then. And it's something that I think is important. Femi then says, okay, Francis, what you're going to do is you're going to find the top innovation hubs in the country. Because I think that that's where your skills will be best used. And you'd apply to these innovation hubs. YALI was in September or October in 2016. And Femi tells me, CCL tells me, innovation hub, all of the hubs, passion incubator, everything. He gives me the list. He says, but Francis, you have to do this thing well. Prepare. I go, I sit down, I write cover letter for every single person, individual cover letter. Cover letters dedicated to every single organization. I update my resume. I was not bad. I was young, but I'd not done badly. I sent out to everybody. But again, I was not smart then. I was sending to info ads. Like I didn't get responses. But I'll go to LinkedIn. I'll still reach out to some people. I didn't have the exposure, which I get why, we talk about things like soft skills and stuff, but it's also about exposure. People need to be able to think in a certain way. As much as I had done a lot of stuff, I didn't have the exposure or the understanding of how to be able to target and reach out to people. Right? I go on an interview process with Innovation. The guys at Innovation, Lofty Inc. were incredible. It's interesting. We're talking about Idris. Incredible. They put me, this young kid, into an email thread. All of the partners are chatting, setting up interviews via Skype. It's me, they liked me. Then I go to Ibadan. And they say, I think the interview went well, but they said they wanted me to be a community manager. I'm like, no be community manager, God say I go do. Why wait?
Yeah.
I no go make decision.
Yeah.
Right? A couple of the guys who had come to Badagry as well.
Yeah.
There was a man who had a consulting firm. I really liked him. I wanted to work in. I was like, consulting, I want to do it. You know, I deferred my service as well. I deferred my service for a year. Because I was like, bro, when I was in Ife, I was in entrepreneurial mindsets. I'm going to be a billion. I wrote in my notes, I was going to have a billion by 25. I'm 31, I'm almost 31 now. But that was the mindset I was in, right? So I was like, no, I'm not going to do NYSC. No, I'm not going to, go down that normal route, or I can do the NYSC later or stuff like that, right? So the important priority for me was like business. I was going to try to create value, right? But I had to switch that mentality. Okay. Because when I then went through this process, eventually I only got into CCO by luck because CCO didn't respond. But CCO had just started Growth Capital. And Tunji Elesho was like, bro, if not for Tunji Elesho, I would not be where I am today. Literally.
Interesting.
I would not be where I am today if not for Tunji Elesho. And I know Egbon, I said I would reach out. I need to book a call for one Friday with him. He's based in Canada as well.
Okay.
I reach out and Tunji Elesho responds to me. Again, Growth Capital was small. So at that point, info at Growth Capital was not bad. Because most likely it was the one who was managing it. So Rich, it says I should come. Omo, I come from Ife. I say, where are you? I say, blessing at the next day. Omo, I come from Ife the next day. Come from Ife, I stay in Ikotun, with one of my guys' place. I go to CCL, I wait for a bit, I get into the office, I have a chat with Tunji. Simeon Ononobi was in the office that day. I don't even know if they remember this detail.
Interesting. That's Thank You Cash, right?
Yes, Thank You Cash. Simeon was in the office that day. Dami Taidi, that was the first time I met Dami Taidi. Oh, wow. Right? Dami was running Go My Way. And,
at the time.
Since you were the open space. So I remember that day, she didn't know by then, but me and Dami are very good friends. She's one of my best bosses ever. Right? I see her that day. Before Tunji and Simeon finished, I think Tunji was feeling a little bit guilty. So Simeon was supposed to have left, but he was feeling guilty, so he said I should come. So I'm in Tunji and Simeon's office, before my interview starts with Tunji. Right? And it wasn't interview style because it was his office, it was the glass office, right? So they are talking and they're just, I took my enter. I took my enter the conversation and then went to Simeon is leaving. He's like, oh, what did you come to do? I said, I came to do an interview. I think he says something, I'm not sure, I don't remember specifically. But something along the lines of, if Tunji, if you want this guy, I no go mind collect that more. You get. So me and Tunji have a great conversation. That's also the day I meet, HM. Yeah. Dr. Boston Tijani. Yeah. Again, luck. Because number one, Tunji probably wouldn't have seen that email. Number two, I wouldn't have been in the office when Tunji and Simeon were there. Number three, HM is typically not, at least, I don't think he was always available at that point in time. Yeah. But at the same point in time where I come to my conversation with Tunji, he reaches out to HM, I go have a conversation with HM. He texts HM, are you available? I wait a couple of minutes. I go upstairs. I go have a conversation with HM. Probably the most tense 10 to 15 minutes of my life. Right? I was just speaking and he was just looking. I was like, am I saying nonsense? Does he even understand anything? Yeah. But I come out and then he says I should have a conversation with HR, with the head of people, Tom Tunde Andrew. Yeah, who's my good friend. She's awesome. Now, right? We have a conversation, Tom thinks I'm great. She's like, okay, 2 weeks later, I was in CCL. That's my journey to CCL. 2 weeks later, I was in CCL. 2 weeks later, to move from Ife without knowing anyone in Lagos. 2 weeks later, 1 month later, after coming to CCL, I had to find rent money.
Immediately.
I had to find 300K, 350K to pay for rent. My salary was not up to that. Right? So I had to figure it out. I was very lucky. A friend of mine who had been in Badagry, he accommodated me for like the first 3 weeks. But then, the house I was in, his brother was coming back, so I had to leave. Right? And that weekend, I had to figure out my journey. And I think that the journey of CCL probably is that same thing about curiosity. Is that same thing about applying yourself, right? One evening, I don't remember whether it's 2017 or 2018, Tunji Elesho, Femi Longa, and HM, Dr. Boston Tijani were, on the 6th floor of CCL, the open space, the rooftop. I don't know, one evening, I don't know what we're there for, but they called a couple of us to come and sit with them, or just chilling and gisting, and they were talking. And I don't know if they remember, but one of them that day said that, most important thing you have to do as a young person is to apply yourself.
Talk about that a bit more.
It means you get into somewhere and you don't require permission. You have to apply yourself to whatever it is that you find in front of you. You have to take ownership. Ownership is one of the central things to my operational approach, to my management approach, and to my general life approach. And what I tell to the people who I have the privilege of working with.
Yeah.
You need to take ownership and you need to apply yourself. So I go into CC Hub. Finally, I'm getting to answer the question after so long.
Bro, it's a lot of color. Don't worry.
And I get into CC Hub. I join as an analyst. Right. So what was happening at that point is Tunji used to lead the startup support unit. But because he was now also doing growth capital, CC Hub at that point in time was probably 20 to 30 people.
Okay.
CC Hub, incredible organization, And I don't just say this because of, the fact that I work with the minister. Right. And I tell people, and maybe I'll say publicly, in my opinion, in terms of understanding innovation for society, innovation in the interest of the people, there are very few that understand the concepts, that have been able to apply the concepts, and that have a very clear roadmap on how to apply the concept for Nigeria and Africa, like the three of them. Right?
Interesting.
And, HM and the way HM understands innovation. Yeah. I hope maybe after, the political appointment, I hope it would document more.
Interesting.
I feel like if people got to see his academic perspective, got to see his philosophical perspective, and maybe that's something we should, if you can get HM.
I will.
If there's a way to, and I don't know what the limitations are when you're in political office, but in terms of understanding innovation, HM is incredible, right? And being able to work in such an organization at a key point in my career, I got into CC Hub when I was 22. Right?
That's pretty young, man.
I was pretty young, bro. I got into CC Hub when I was 22, and doing that, and I did it for 4 years. I came in as an analyst, and when I was leaving CC Hub, I was managing 4 years later. I was managing accelerator programs across the continent.
I remember doing it.
I remember. And it was only because of the understanding that they had, but also the leadership approach that they had. Because I don't know why, and sometimes, HM is very interesting, and HM is, sometimes, you can say that people don't understand HM as much. But the reality is that the opportunities he has given to me are opportunities I have not deserved. And they're opportunities that I hope he feels, I've never asked him if he feels like I've, taken advantage of those opportunities and lived up to his expectations.
Interesting.
But I hope I have. Because as a young kid coming into CC Hub, Tunji starts to focus on growth capital. Benga Totoi comes in as my first boss at CC Hub, my first direct boss at CC Hub. Benga leaves and Dami joins back. Me and Dami essentially, tag team to build out the startup support units, at CC Hub. And Dami is just incredible. Me and Kelvin, talk about Dami because, Kelvin eventually, I convinced Kelvin to come and join CC Hub before he went on to do Bumper and God bless TJ's soul. We lost TJ recently and
rest in peace.
But Dami is excellent. And that culture of innovation that CC Hub has, because CC Hub when I was at CC Hub, when I joined CC Hub, maybe less than 30 people. By the time I was leaving CC Hub, there was more than 100 people. By the time when I joined CC Hub was the premier innovation hub in Nigeria. By the time I was leaving, it was the largest innovation hub in the continent. So I also joined at a point in time when HM was on and all of Femi and Tunji on an explosive run, right? And seeing all of that and being a part of all of that, doing incubation support, then eventually doing accelerator. I did the Make IT. So 6 months in, there's the Make IT accelerator. The Next Economy Accelerator with Dutch government, right? Which I start to manage. I work with incredible entrepreneurs. So I feel like my life is such an adventure. The process of doing an accelerator, yes, it's skinny, but for me, it is an adventure. Because it meant that, and I'm sure you know what the feeling is like. You get to work with these incredible people for a short period of time.
Yeah. Solving different problems.
Yeah. It's exciting. Like I've been privileged to I've never done a job that I did not enjoy. I've just never been, in the position where I feel like, oh, I don't enjoy my job. Because the thing that I'm doing is just incredibly exciting.
Do you think you're lucky or it's a mindset thing or a bit of both?
We live in a world of randomness.
Oh, Lord.
We live in a world of randomness. When you live in a world of randomness, you live in a world of luck.
That's interesting.
But like with everything in life, yin and yang, like you said, and I like the way you put it, and I've never thought about myself that way. It's not enough for you to think about it. You have to do. If you think and you don't do, it's not going to come to life. Right? So if you have luck and you don't take advantage of those positive, when we say luck, that's a positive occurrence. It's what we categorize as a positive occurrence. That's what, an unexpected thing that happened. When we say we had something bad happen to us, it's also unexpected. We don't think that we deserve to have gotten this. But, we often cry about the unexpected one that is negative. But the one that is unexpected, that is positive, we forget it. We forget it and we move on to other desires. Right? So I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
I think I've been incredibly lucky. I think every day, as someone I am, my loved ones, I'm a very clumsy person, right? So my partner, she's very sensitive. So if I hit the chair or something, it's going to carry her heart up. Well, that's like my coordination skills are not the best. My reading skills are not the best. I don't know how to do musical instruments very well.
Gotcha.
But for some reason, I know how to be able to figure out this innovation thing. Right? Yeah. So I think it's about but yeah, that's what I think.
So I want us to, there's something we're trying new on the podcast. It's called a quick fire segment. But there's also a question that we ask all our guests. And I want to ask you before we go to the quick fire segment. You have represented the church. You've represented your school. You've built rockets. You've organized community events. You've taken your shot to come to Lagos. You worked in CC Hub. You worked in Magic Fund as a VC. You've had a lot of very interesting experiences that a combination of God, your curiosity, and your action bias has rewarded you with. But to summarize it in a simple question, what has been the most pivotal moment of your innovation story so far?
I don't know if there's been one. I don't know if there's supposed to be one.
Interesting. It's many.
I think it's many. I think it's many threads of a single story. I think it's many threads. Like I was thinking about it. I looked at it in the, it's interesting because I've rambled the past couple minutes or hour, But like as you can see, it's many multiple things. It's many multiple dares that I've taken. And those dares, some working out, some not working out. Some ones that would probably stand out the most would be Badagry.
Okay.
And that night with Femi Romini.
Yeah.
From an innovation standpoint. That night, expanding my vision of what was possible, of what I thought I could do, of what I thought I deserved, of what I thought I had the ability to do.
Okay.
That was incredibly,
That's awesome, man. Question, actually. You've supported over 300 high growth companies in Africa. Actually, globally. Sorry for the error. But you've also supported companies at different times. So when there's been a lot of funding in the ecosystem, and when, like right now, where people are saying there's a funding winter and things aren't as, money is not as flush in the same way it was. How has your perspective on evaluating a good company changed over the years, especially considering now when AI is popping up, so on and so forth?
Yeah. I would add in there, I know I like to elongate the questions you ask me, but I also experienced the early parts of the current wave of the ecosystem.
Okay.
In 2017, when, you used to do $5,000 for 7%.
Oh, wow. Rough times.
Rough times. So I think before the money came, we also have to understand that there were years before it was even possible for you to even raise more than $5,000 or something that you read. It's crazy now. It's what an angel gives. And when I say now, this is, 10 years ago, 89 years ago. And I think that in that sense, it's an evolution. And collectively as an ecosystem and as a group of innovators, we're evolving. My thinking around startups and around innovation is, and I think with that evolution, we find that the companies that stay alive, because the ones that stay alive teach us something. They teach us something about what needs to be done. And if you think about it now, the companies that are alive and thriving are the companies that are going after real value. Not the companies who are, not focused on real value. Because when you focus on real value, you're focused on actual customers. You're focused on, even if you don't have all of the customers today and you have to, go and grow, you're focused on real actual value.
Yeah.
I think that the Zip period and when money was flush, not just here, globally, enabled a lot of entrepreneurs who weren't going after real value to begin to go after money, and everybody was guilty. Anybody that says, maybe some guys were not guilty, but to be honest, anyone who invested at that point in time was a bit guilty because the prices we were paying for things were much higher than they should have been. And I feel like right now in the ecosystem and the way I view, even just as someone who's working on the policy side and on the government side, is about how do we enable more people to create real value. Something I will ask people to check out. And it's something that, I saw when I joined the minister's team. Go and check. Our GDP has been growing for the past 40 years.
Really?
Since the discovery of oil. It's almost like a very interesting stick.
Interesting.
Right? Something you find, industry has gone down from 60% in contribution to GDP to less than 20%.
Why do you think that is?
We're not innovating. Because the discovery of oil created a culture where, we then started to focus on one thing. And we've created this idea that we have a rich country. When you think your country is rich, you don't think you need to innovate. You don't think you need to struggle to create value. Right? So across many of our sectors, in industry, number of sectors that are contributing positively to the growth of our GDP are very few. Most of them are relatively flat, not contributing at all. I'm saying over 80% of our sectors, the lifeblood of our economy, are flatlining. Where are the innovators? And the innovators should not wait for government or choose. Nigerian, if there's anything that people listening should know and should listen to, is that you do not need permission. And yes, the country isn't as the best where it's at, but we are Nigerians first, and we are trying to build Nigeria. For us to build Nigeria, we have to innovate. If you say the enabling environment is not there, number one, what are you comparing that enabling environment with? Are you comparing it with the enabling environment of countries that have been civilized, like have been developed for centuries? Or are you comparing it with countries that are similar to us, where we've had only stable democratic rule for 25 years? We're infants. We're an infant country, a new country as well. Because this country did not exist 60 years ago, or more than 70 years ago. It's a brand new country in an infancy stage. Come on, we've not innovated yet. We're living in the most exciting times. We're living in the times where people have to go into wood and innovate. People have to go into fishery and innovate. People have to go into livestock and innovate. We have a feeling, and I don't know whether it's the colonial piece. There's the feeling right now that, our government is strong enough. So our government has to do. Or they have the capacity to do. And all we have to do is exist or have the enabling environment. We as individuals have a role and a responsibility to create value. So that is what has changed in the way I think about startups.
Interesting.
And the way I think about innovation.
Interesting. That's a good point, actually. I like how you're not focusing on, number one, not focusing on technology. Because I think there's a tendency for people especially in the African innovation landscape, to over focus on the technology piece, where if you're not building software, you're not innovating. And I also like the perspective of almost like a call to action for actual people in the private sector to actually do their piece. There's this thing about innovation always precedes regulation. It's always going to happen. And it's important that even though there is some room for improvement on the, creating an enabling environment from a policy and governance standpoint, there's still the call for individuals to stand up and do their own part in spite of the barriers that exist.
To push, when I say that people, this isn't me discarding the reality.
Yeah.
But for years, since I was a kid, growing up in Ile-Ife, the uncles in my environment used to complain. They would spend hours complaining about Nigeria. I'm not saying anything is perfect. I'm not defending anyone, but I'm saying this is your country, this is my country. I am Nigerian, you are Nigerian. We both know what is possible for this country to be the kind of country we want it to be. Let us, individuals, groups of individuals, build the country of our dreams. Simple.
Thank you, Francis.
You're welcome, bro.
So, let's come to the quickfire segment. I'm very excited because we've never done this before. So you're the very first guest that we're doing this with.
Love it. Let's
go.
The
rules of the quickfire segments are this. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. You don't know what the questions are. And you can't think about your answer for more than 5 seconds. So literally quickfire. Right? Are you ready?
I gotta focus, bro.
I
gotta focus.
Oh my God. Okay, so the first question is, if you could give one piece of unfiltered advice to a younger Francis, especially coming into the tech space, the only thing is that younger Francis is coming into the tech space today. What advice would it be?
Do.
Interesting.
Just do.
Just do.
Without needing permission. Do. Okay. Innovation is the engine for bringing dreams to life. The feeling that we have as people who want to do stuff in innovation is us bringing things to life. Action is the creative energy of the universe. Without action, you cannot bring that which is unmanifested to become manifested. So this is, if something has been laid in your heart, you have to do.
Just do. I love that answer. Okay. The next question is, what's one African innovation you're currently most excited by and why?
African innovation. That's a great question. It's interesting because I don't typically think about the tools that I use as where they're from. I usually think about them. I just use tools generally.
You can broaden it if it's not African.
I don't know if, I don't put myself on the spot there from an African standpoint, but I think there are a lot of great companies building incredible. I feel like we have a lot of people building incredible companies, but I don't know if we have a lot of people building a lot of incredible tools. What I mean, like actual tools that people use day to day. And I feel like that's an area that we need to be able to go into more of. And I feel like with 3MTC and with everything that everyone is doing about increasing the pool of talent, we'll be able to build more. Some of the most interesting things I've started playing with in recent times are agentic platforms.
Okay. So AI. Okay.
And agentic AI. And the ability to be able to, without writing code, create things and orchestrate things that, would feel like magic to anyone 20 years ago. Talk less of people 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. That's a good answer, actually. There's a platform I started playing around with. It's called Bold.new. It's similar to other ones like Lovable.
Yeah.
Blew my mind, man.
Bro.
Prompts to code.
Bro, right now, Bold.new is organizing the world's largest hackathon.
Oh, really?
100K people participating, and they have a $2 million pot already. Really? I want to try to see if we can get as many Nigerians as possible in.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I reached out to the team.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that would be really dope.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
Okay, so last question. Finish this sentence. The future of African innovation is...
mind-blowing. Mind-blowing for us who have the privilege of being in it now. Mind-blowing for what is possible. Bro, because I say something. We do not have many prosperous African and Black nations today. The world, the modern world, like, there was a recent discovery about the Great Pyramids and the possibility that under the Great Pyramids are pillars. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't, but interesting.
Check it out.
I will.
There's a possibility because, for the longest time, we saw that the Great Pyramids were things that were the rocks were ordered by thousands of slaves and using different mechanical tools. But there's been the thing, it's not been confirmed yet. But there's these guys who are using sound, I think, this seismic thing. And they discovered that there's pillars below. And I feel like if you think about that being something that a civilization put out, something of that magnitude, thousands of years ago. So they lost knowledge and lost expression of humanity, but particularly of Africans and Black people. Yeah. Right? That is, how do we get there? Innovation. So it's not about raising money. It's not about, just doing things. This is us creating what is possible for Africa. And I think that then helps us understand things differently. So we don't assume and limit the things we think about and talk about to just us building software. Technology is a tool to bring something to life, to improve things, right? How do we translate this mind-blowing potential into reality in our own little way? We're not going to do everything, but we should not sit down and complain that certain things are not in place. That's why we can't do it, because that's a lie. People build nations. People build nations. Human beings, individual people.
Build nations.
And collectives of small people. Not 1 million people. No 1 million people have ever sat down and said, we're going to make this country great. No.
It's a small group.
Like me and you sit down with shared interest and say, we're going to do and bring this thing to life. Not even, they cannot do it alone as well. Because a society is made up of so many parts. Right? Which is something that I've also been thinking about recently, that we think about innovation, and that's why ideas are important. That's why what you're trying to do and the platform you're building and us sharing more is important. It's something I've said about one of the biggest challenges we have today. I tell you, as a society, as an ecosystem, one of the biggest challenges we have today is that the average person is starting off from ground zero. But the average person who's starting off in in SF or in other innovation capitals, they're not starting off from ground zero.
No.
Let's even say not ground zero, so it doesn't look as though we've not done a lot. Let's say we're starting off from ground 20%. Which means, what do I mean by that? The lessons that have been learned. I was thinking about it recently, and someone was saying, because there was a conversation around, there was a recent conversation on X around, African people, colonial masters really better off running the country, or can we not run our own country? Is there something about us that cannot make us run our own country? And one of the things that came up was how one of the reasons why someone had postulated was language and storytelling. We do not like to document and share in our culture. And I don't know how we fix it. Because if you think about even artificial intelligence and the piece around data, like you want an LLM to do something today. An LLM is going to have to search data and a data source.
Or a library,
If that data source is not available, it's not going to be included. So again, it's not a question about whether AI is relevant or not. I think that when we don't expand the way we think about things, that's when the myopic views come up. Right? When you understand things broadly, the myopic views are not going to come up. Right?
It's interesting you say this, because I think part of the issue is it's not so much that we don't even document it. It's more so that it's fragmented. So storytelling and data sourcing from a cohesive, collaborative perspective in a way that is not as fragmented is a major problem that we have on the African continent. And I think it's something we need to solve. Like, there's just no way around it. The small players coming together to do the work, whether it's from the perspective of AI or it's people that are coming together on podcasts and telling stories in a way that we can actually bring Nigerians, but Africans as a whole together as part of the work we need to do, in my opinion. But thank you very much, Francis. This has been super awesome. I have so many more questions in my head. I'm just like, we have to bring this to a close at some point. But I really appreciate you taking the time. I think you're doing an amazing job in the government now. I'm looking forward to seeing the next phase or the continuum of what comes from the story of Francis. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
No, thank you, man.
And to everyone who has stayed to the end, thank you for listening. Until next time, take care.
Thank you.